The drama surrounding the Cleveland Browns has erupted once again, but this time the spotlight is not on a last-second loss, a controversial coaching decision, or a blockbuster trade. Instead, the storm has been fueled by something far more powerful in today's sports landscape: narrative. And when narratives begin to shape how a young quarterback is perceived, they can alter their careers before those careers even truly begin. That is exactly why one of the most respected evaluators in football decided he had heard enough. When longtime draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr. finally addressed the growing criticism surrounding rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, he did not hold back. What followed was a passionate, detailed dismantling of what he believes has been deeply misleading coverage coming out of Cleveland for decades. Mel Kiper Jr. has built a reputation on careful evaluation and relentless study of players at every level of football. He has watched thousands of games, analyzed countless prospects, and witnessed the rise and fall of many quarterbacks trying to survive the brutal learning curve of the National Football League. When someone with that level of experience speaks with intensity, the football world tends to listen. And in this case, Kiper was not simply offering mild disagreement with media criticism. He was openly accusing certain voices within the Cleveland sports media landscape of pushing narratives that ignore the reality of what Sanders actually endured during his rookie season. With the Cleveland Browns, Kiper made it clear that he had done something many critics apparently had not. He watched every snap, every throw, every moment that Shedeur Sanders spent on the field under circumstances that, by almost any standard, would challenge even experienced veterans. What he saw was not a quarterback collapsing under pressure. Instead, he saw a young player battling through chaos, adapting on the fly, and showing flashes of the talent that made him such a highly discussed prospect. In the first place, the story of Sanders' rookie season cannot be understood without acknowledging how unusual the situation truly was. Before the season even began, he faced a preparation process that many analysts consider almost unthinkable for a quarterback drafted to potentially lead a franchise. During training camp and preseason preparations, Sanders reportedly did not receive a single first-team repetition with the starting offense. For a rookie quarterback, that lack of preparation can create a massive disadvantage. Timing with receivers, communication with linemen, and understanding the rhythm of the offense all require repetition with the players who will actually be on the field during games. Instead, Sanders was forced to enter the season without that foundational chemistry. When the moment finally arrived for him to step onto the field, he was doing so alongside teammates he had barely practiced with in meaningful situations. For many rookies, even those drafted into ideal circumstances, the jump from college football to the NFL can feel overwhelming. The speed of the game is faster, defensive schemes are more complex, and every mistake is magnified. Now imagine facing that challenge while also trying to build trust and timing with an offense that never had the opportunity to develop those connections during practice. But the challenges did not stop there. The Browns' offensive line struggled throughout stretches of the season, leaving Sanders under constant pressure. Quarterbacks rely heavily on protection to allow plays to develop, and when that protection breaks down consistently, even the most talented passers can struggle to find rhythm. Sanders absorbed hit after hit, often releasing the ball just moments before defenders closed in. Yet he remained on the field, continuing to compete despite the physical punishment that came with playing behind a unit battling injuries and instability. Weather conditions added another layer of difficulty. Anyone familiar with football in Cleveland understands that the late-season environment can be brutal. Cold winds whipping across the field, freezing temperatures, heavy rain, and occasional snowstorms can turn even routine passing attempts into unpredictable challenges. Quarterbacks who spend their entire careers mastering the art of throwing a football can still struggle when the elements become that severe. For a rookie trying to establish himself, those conditions can create a nearly impossible environment for consistent production. Kiper emphasized that context matters when evaluating performance. Statistics alone rarely tell the full story of a quarterback's development. Interceptions, for example, are often used as a quick measure of success or failure. Yet Kiper pointed out that several of Sanders' interceptions were the result of circumstances outside the quarterback's control. Passes tipped at the line of scrimmage, balls deflected off receivers' hands, and other chaotic moments can instantly change the outcome of a play. When veteran quarterbacks experience those same situations, analysts typically recognize them as unlucky breaks rather than evidence of poor decision-making. However, according to Kiper, that same benefit of context has not always been extended to Sanders. Instead, certain voices have used those moments as evidence that he cannot become the long-term answer at quarterback for Cleveland. Kiper's frustration was not simply about criticism itself. Constructive criticism is a natural part of sports analysis. What troubled him was the apparent willingness of some commentators to highlight mistakes while ignoring the conditions that created them. Even more puzzling to Kiper was the silence that surrounded Sanders earlier in the offseason. When the young quarterback was being denied first-team practice opportunities, there were few public questions about whether that decision was hindering his development. Instead, the narrative seemed to focus elsewhere, including heavy praise for other quarterbacks competing for playing time. Among those names was Dillon Gabriel, whose potential role within the Browns' offense became a frequent topic of discussion before Sanders had even received a real opportunity to prove himself. When Gabriel eventually received chances to start, expectations rose quickly, but the results did not immediately match the optimism. Meanwhile, when Sanders finally stepped onto the field, he began showing flashes of resilience that surprised many observers. Despite the chaos surrounding him, he managed to guide the Browns to several wins during a stretch where the team had struggled to find consistency at the quarterback position. To Kiper, those victories represented something significant. They showed that Sanders possessed qualities that cannot always be measured by box scores alone: toughness, composure under pressure, the willingness to stand in the pocket and deliver throws while defenders closed in. Those are traits that often separate quarterbacks who merely survive in the NFL from those who eventually thrive. None of this means Sanders' rookie season was flawless. Like every young quarterback before him, he experienced growing pains. There were moments when the speed of the professional game forced split-second decisions that did not go his way. There were throws he would likely want back and reads that could have been handled differently. But Kiper's argument was simple. Those mistakes are a normal part of development, especially for a rookie placed in such demanding circumstances. History supports that view. Many quarterbacks who eventually became stars struggled during their early seasons. Learning the complexities of professional defenses, adjusting to the pace of the game, and mastering the mental side of quarterback play can take years. Expecting perfection during a rookie campaign, particularly one filled with obstacles, ignores decades of evidence about how quarterbacks develop in this league. Inside the Browns organization, the focus will likely remain on growth. If Sanders continues to refine his decision-making, strengthen his chemistry with teammates, and adapt to the strategic complexity of NFL defenses, the flashes he showed during his rookie season could become the foundation of something much larger. Quarterbacks often make their biggest leaps between their first and second seasons. Once they have a full off-season to study film, build relationships with receivers, and gain confidence in the system. For Cleveland fans, the coming months could determine whether Sanders truly becomes the long-term answer under center. The talent that made him a highly discussed prospect is still there. His arm strength, mobility, and football intelligence were traits that evaluators noticed